Misogyny has made its way into the Israelite community, and I think it is about time that we speak about it. Let's get into today's topic. For the past 2 months, I have been bombarded by gender war this, feminism that, 50-50 this, and honestly, my initial stance on it was like, women have truly lost the plot. Women do not know where they stand in today's time and how the Most High had initially designed them to be. Until I looked at the other side of the coin. That is when I came across the documentary on Netflix called Inside the Manosphere. That is when I saw that, okay, there's something different with this one. And so going through the documentary and the information behind it, I thought to myself, what business do I have going through the affairs of the world? How would they even affect me as an Israelite woman? Yeah, I think I spoke too soon. That was until I saw that the Manosphere has infiltrated the community. That is when I came across this video.
And that's when I started thinking much deeper about the kind of structure I was really in. Because I also started noticing a mindset where involving courts, legal systems, or outside accountability was treated as evil, rebellious, or out of order. Even in situations where women were left financially devastated, unsupported, mistreated, or harmed. So the expectation became endure it privately, stay loyal, stay quiet, stay in order, do not seek outside help no matter what happens to you. And that realization honestly scared me because by that point, I understood how easily a woman could give everything, lose everything, and still walk away with no protection, no resources, and no support. Looking back now, I can also see what all of this was doing to me. People hear these stories and focus on the events. But what I remember now is what those events were doing to me internally. I was becoming someone I didn't recognize. I was anxious all the time. I was constantly monitoring my words, my tone, my reaction, trying to avoid conflict. I was always trying to figure out what version of myself would create the least amount of tension. I was exhausted emotionally.
Okay, I just wanted to stop there to kind of give you a bit of a background of what is happening and who the lady behind the video is. She is an Israelite sister who recently came out about her Deacon husband. Yes, he's in leadership, who has been really manipulative, gaslighting, abusive, and very much borderline narcissistic, And what I realized about the story is that most people really focus on the fact that she's out of order and she's not following the right procedures to go about a bad marriage. But this is not only just about bad marriage. This is about a mentality behind this man. I realized that if we leave those things to just men in the world and think that that will never come into our community and be oblivious to it, then more women, sisters, are going to be vulnerable in such situations. As per observation of why such behavior even exists in this community, it's because of two reasons. This is something that I have observed. Number one, because of the Torah. Not the Torah itself, but the power behind the Torah. Basically, the Torah in the hands of a wicked man is power and pride. Torah in the hands of a righteous man is guidance and direction. So, what I then have noticed, okay, let's get into scripture real quick. Okay, so one thing that made me realize that there's a difference between a wicked man and a righteous man when following reading scripture and someone who professes to be following Torah and everything. I noticed the story of Matthew where Peter, this was when Yahusha was actually being given up to the Pharisees and being prosecuted at the time. Behind the scenes, this is when Peter was actually running away and trying to like hide, but following behind them at the same time. So this little girl then calls her out and says, "You're one of them. I can tell," this is me paraphrasing, "I can tell with your speech and how you just carry yourself." And that's when I realized that there was a clear distinction between the righteous and the Pharisees. And this is something that we are seeing right now in real time. Most of these camps that are professing to be following the law, to be righteous men, most of them are actually not righteous men. And one thing that this lady fell victim to is that she heard the keywords righteous, Torah, he's a man of Yah, he's in the way, in the truth. And she was like, that's my man. And that was wrong because, firstly, there are a lot of things that she has admitted to that she let it slide in the beginning stages of courtship and everything like that. I feel like that is when she kind of like was oblivious and just fell for the keywords that most women in our community could very well fall into as well. And the second one is the laws for women in the Torah. One thing that I've realized is that in most of these religions, particularly the Muslim community, you see very much a clear stance for women, or standard for women, is that they should cover, wear their hijabi and everything like that. They should really be covered, and sometimes they even go to the far extent of like showing their eyes only. And one thing in the stories that I've heard from these communities is that most of the time in these communities, abuse is very much prevalent. Wait, is it Muslim or Islam? I don't want to get it wrong. Okay, I think it's Islam. From the Islam community, is that mostly when women are like covered like that, they are then subject to either being abused or being like overly told what to do, like controlled. And so this has kind of seeped into our community because, to be honest, we are very much a hurt community. We're hurt people, and so the traumas that most of us actually carried from the world, that we were oppressed and enslaved and we were just all these things, now we are just coming into the truth without any healing of that past. You can say things like, no, I'm healed, the Most High would heal me and everything, but the devil's listening. Satan is working overtime, and I think that's exactly what he wanted with our community. He made sure that while we were still in the world, before we even got the revelation of the truth and who we are and our identity, that we fell for things like feminism, misogyny, misandry. And so if we would sit here and say, just because we're in the truth, these things don't apply to us, we would be lying to ourselves. We need to heal as a nation first. We really need to heal. That is why such things are actually happening rampantly in these camps, because these self-righteous men have not unlearned the ways of Babylon. They just got into the truth and they held the Torah and they said, this is my power and I'm gonna smack you with it. Again, maybe it's kind of exaggerated, but I see this and it hurts me to see that a lot of our sisters are falling for this, all in the name of being submissive and just being subject to their husbands, just how the Torah has commanded us to. And it's kind of sad because the Most High designed us in this intricate way, like men and women separately, to kind of be in sync and just have this symphony. But because of trauma, because of everything that is now happening, I'll say it. A woman who's willing to be submissive in today's day and age is putting herself in a pretty much vulnerable state. And you might be sitting there saying, but sister, I've evaluated everything. Why would I want to be in that stage? And so, is it wrong for me to be a feminist in that sense? I spoke about feminism before this video, if you want to check it out. Firstly, feminism is not a natural response for women. It's very much survival mode. it's not something that we are called to be doing either. I feel like the reason why the Most High delights in a humble spirit in a woman is that such the society of women that exists today is the reason why the laws were enforced for women. If then we're going to be saying things like, okay, feminism is actually allowed, it's fine, then the hierarchy does not exist. Because then it is woman, man, Christ, then the Most High. And so if then we are scratching that and saying, no, 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 man, woman, they're on the same page. It's kind of like there's no hierarchy anymore. And so I would answer this question to you, sister, who's thinking of being feminist because you feel like it's not safe. You feel like it's not safe to actually be subject to a man. All I can say to you, sis, is that your intention is not wrong. Because every woman just wants to be safe. Every woman yearns for a place to lay her head and just rest and be in a feminine state. And so I understand that very much. Like, I desire that as well. I think your intention is correct, but your way of going about it is not, because feminism is not the answer to combat this type of situation. And that is also the reason why I created my second channel called Women Who Aren't Covered, because I don't want women to see situations like this and resort to the extreme opposite of it by saying that they're gonna be feminists. They're not gonna want men. They're gonna be their own authority. That is not how women were designed to be. We were designed to be covered. Covered by who? How is the question. And so on the channel, I will be offering guidance on feminine tips on behavior and appearance, laws on Israelite womanhood and how they can be applied in today's society, purpose and calling for us daughters of Zion, and also courtship and marriage, because I mean, all of us want to be married. You know, like, we cannot hide that. Just because such extreme cases are happening should not stop us from finding our rightful companions. And so I want to speak about that on my channel, and also how to identify this righteous man of the Most High. You know, that's very important. If that sounds like something or a journey that you would like to be a part of, please subscribe to that channel. I will link it on the description below as well as in the comment section. So I'll see you there, sisters. But yeah, going back into this topic, we need to establish a proper way of healing as a community. I'm not saying we should all now go and sign up for therapy. All I'm saying is we need to evaluate ourselves, hold ourselves accountable. Instead of being held accountable by other people, have this standard for yourself that you are not going to go out there and deceive other people. You're not going to go out there and be evil, especially when you're in the truth, because you know better than that. I want to see how everyone has taken this situation and how everyone is looking to move forward with this situation. But yeah, and girlies, I will see you guys on the other channel that I will be dropping a video on sometime next week. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.